Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to our zoology online class. In the last class, we studied about some important topics, one important theory. We have the modern synthetic theory, then adaptive radiation, natural selection, and finally we studied about one very important 5-mark question, origin and evolution of human beings. Okay, so these are some of the important questions in the last class we have studied. So hope you all studied all these questions, and next week you are going to write the half-yearly exam also. So all study all the lessons thoroughly. In all subjects you study all the subjects. Okay, my dear students, today we can complete this 6th lesson. Okay, the evolution lesson, we can complete this evolution lesson today. And today we are going to study about two important topics. Okay, today we are going to study two important, very important 5-mark question. Okay, see, our first question or the first topic is Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium or Hardy-Weinberg principle. Okay, so first we are going to study about one important equilibrium or one important principle is called Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium or Hardy-Weinberg principle. Two scientists, Hardy, one person's name is Hardy and he belongs to UK, and another one scientist named Weinberg, and he is from Germany. Okay, so these two people, Hardy and Weinberg, these two people togetherly introduced one principle, and this principle is called Hardy-Weinberg principle. Okay, so first I explain the meaning or the definition of this Hardy-Weinberg principle. So listen very carefully. Say, the allele frequency in a large population, the allele frequency of a large population is always constant, or always permanent from one generation to next generation in the absence of some factors. The factors may be natural selection, genetic drift, gene flow, or mutation, or recombination. Okay, so if all these 5 factors are absent, the allele frequency of a large population is always in constant condition. That means the allele frequency will not change under any situations. So the condition of this, the condition is the 5 important factors: natural selection, genetic drift, gene flow, mutation, and recombination. All these factors should not be there. Okay, so all these factors is in absent condition. So when these factors are absent, the allele frequency is not changed in a large population. So this principle is called Hardy-Weinberg principle. So say and repeat this Hardy-Weinberg principle. The allele frequency in a large population is always constant from one generation to next generation in the absence of genetic drift, natural selection, gene flow, mutation, and recombination. Okay, so to explain this Hardy-Weinberg principle, they used one important example: a very big population of beetle, a large beetle population. They selected a large beetle population. See, normally when any changes takes place in the allele frequency or gene frequency, automatically it leads to some variations in the progeny or young ones. It automatically leads to some variations in the progeny. But here this Hardy-Weinberg principle saying if some factors are absent, the gene frequency is not changed in any conditions. Okay, so to explain this Hardy-Weinberg principle, they used one important example, a beetle population, large beetle population. See, actually these beetles are available in 2 colors. One is a dark grey color and another one is light grey color, dark color or white color. Okay, understand? So listen very carefully. See, the alleles responsible for the color of this beetle is A allele. Name of that allele is called A, allele A. And the capital A allele is responsible for the dark grey color, and the small a allele is responsible for a light grey color. So capital A allele is responsible for dark grey color, and small a allele is responsible or determining the light grey color or white color. Then the frequency of this A allele is mentioned by using a letter P, and the value of this P is 0.3. Then the frequency of this small a is mentioned by a letter Q, and the value of this Q is 0.7. So this P plus Q is equal to 1. 7 plus 3 is equal to 1. So P plus Q is equal to 1. Hope you all understood all this point. Then see, actually we have studied one common formula. See, a plus b squared is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. It's a common formula, you all know that. Okay. So here, to explain the Hardy-Weinberg principle in this beetle population, they used the same formula only. See, P plus Q. Okay, here they used the frequency P, and to explain to mention this small a, they used Q. So P plus Q the whole square is equal to P square plus 2PQ and Q square. This is a simple formula. And the value of all these P and Q, you all know that. See, P square. So P already told you capital A. So P square means 2 capital A. Then 2PQ. So P means capital A, Q means small a. Then Q square, both letters are small letters, small a. Some of you, then come to the point. See, the P's value you know 0.3 and Q's value is also you all know 0.7. Now come to the formula. See, P square means see 0.3 the whole square is equal to 0.09. It is considered as 9%. It is considered as 9%. So the P square meaning already told you 2 capital A's. Already told you that capital A is determining dark grey color. So 7% is determining dark grey color. Then next 2PQ. 2PQ. So 2 here, then P's value is 0.3, then Q's value is 0.7. So it is equal to 0.42. So it is considered as 42%. 42%. So one here also one capital A and one small a is there. P is the capital A and Q is the small a. So here 42%. 42%. So the 7 plus 42, 51% population is in dark color. In the beetle population, 51% of the beetles are in dark color. Then Q square you all know. The value is 0.7. So 0.7 the whole square is equal to 0.49. So it is considered as 49% small a. So the small a, already told you the small a represent the light grey color. Light grey color. So by using this simple formula, they explain, Hardy and Weinberg explain this principle in a large beetle population. In a large beetle population. So in this large beetle population, the gene frequency or the allele frequency is not changed under any situations. In all the generation, new young ones or progenies are produced. The progenies also having the same allele frequency or same gene frequency. There is no changes in the allele frequencies. Understand of you? Understand? And finally, they set some assumption. So there are 5 assumptions. The Hardy and Weinberg, they explain 5 important assumptions. The first one is no mutation. Here no mutations means already I told you the some 5 factors. Mutation is one of the important factors. This factor is absent here. Okay, already I told you natural selection, mutation, genetic trick, gene flow, recombination. So these 5 factors are in what condition? Absent condition. So here there is no mutation. So there is no new alleles are formed. No new alleles are formed. Okay, and there is no addition in the genes and there is no deletion in the genes, because the reason is no mutation. So this is the first assumption in Hardy-Weinberg principle. Then second one is random mating, meaning in a large population all the young organisms getting a chance for mating. Okay, so there is no specific phenotypic characters. Okay, every young ones or every organism is getting a chance for mating. So this is random mating is a second assumption in Hardy-Weinberg principle. Then there third one is no gene flow. Here the genes are not moving from one within the population or outside the population through the gamete, or the genes are not transferring through the entering or exiting of individual organisms. So there is no gene flow in this Hardy-Weinberg principle equilibrium. Then next one, very large population. Very large population means the size of the population is very big. Okay, indefinite sized populations. There is no limitation for the population's size. Then next one is no natural selection. Here no natural selection means all the organisms are fit to survive in the world, and all the organisms in this Hardy-Weinberg population is fit to reproduce their young ones. So these are some of the 5 important assumptions of this Hardy-Weinberg principle. Understand? Then here one very important condition: if any one of these assumptions is not followed properly, then there is no Hardy-Weinberg principle in that particular population. Okay, so all these assumptions should be followed properly, then only that population is in Hardy-Weinberg population or Hardy-Weinberg principle. Okay, so if any one of these assumptions is not followed properly, immediately it leads to some changes in the gene frequency. If any changes takes place in the gene frequency, it leads to changes in the changes or variations in the progeny or young ones. Understand, my dear students? So it's one of the very important 5 mark questions. So once again repeat the definition of this Hardy-Weinberg principle. The allele frequency in a large population is always in constant condition from one generation to next generation in the absence of natural selection, genetic drift, gene flow, mutation and recombination. So it's very important 2 mark questions also. Hope you all understood this Hardy-Weinberg principle. Then our next topic is mechanism of evolution. Listen very carefully. So this is also one of the very important 5 mark question, mechanism of evolution. Before studying this mechanism of evolution, you should understand the meaning of the word microevolution. Microevolution meaning evolution in small scale. Changes in allele frequency within a population is called microevolution. The changes in the allele frequency within a population is called microevolution, or we can say the change small scale evolution. Evolution in small scale is called microevolution. Understand a few there. Allele in a population, whether it is small population or medium sized population or is a large population, the allele frequency in a population is changed due to 4 important forces. Due to 4 important forces. The first force is natural selection. Okay, the first force is natural selection. So because of 4 important forces, the allele frequency in a population is changed. The first force is natural selection. Natural selection. Here, natural selection meaning, see, it occurs when one allele make an organism more or less fit to survive and reproduce in a given environment. So, natural selection occurs when a single allele, okay, when a single allele make an organism more or less fit to survive in an environment or to reproduce in an environment. Understand a few? Then, second point about this natural selection is, say, if one gene's allele frequency is modified or changed, immediately for another one genes, new alleles are produced by mutation. So, in a large population, one gene's allele is modified or changed due to some reasons. Immediately for another one gene, new alleles are produced by mutations. New alleles are produced by mutations. So now I said 2 important points about this natural selection. So when it is occur, this natural selection is occur when one allele make an organism more or less fit to survive and reproduce in a given environment. Understand? Then second point, in one gene's allele frequency is changed or modified immediately for another one gene, new alleles are produced by mutations. Understand? Then the selections, this natural selection is divided into three types. There are three types of natural selections are there. The first selection is called stabilizing selection. Okay, the first selection is called stabilizing selection. Listen very carefully. See, this stabilizing selection operates when the environmental conditions are in stable condition, is in constant condition. So this stabilizing selection operates in a population when the environmental conditions are in stable condition, and this selection allow the organisms which are having average phenotype. So the organisms which are having the average phenotype are allowed to survive in the environment, and the organisms with extreme phenotypes are eliminated. Extreme phenotypes are eliminated. Some of you. Then the third point about this stabilizing selection is no speciation. Okay, so this selection will not allow the formation of no species, not allow the formation of new species. Some of you. The next one, the phenotypic stability is also maintained within a population. This selection maintaining the phenotypic stability within a population. So once again repeat all the points about this stabilizing selection. So this stabilizing selection operates when the environmental conditions are in stable condition, the first point. And the second point, this selection allow the average phenotypic organisms which are having the average phenotypic characters only allowed to survive. The extreme organisms are eliminated from the earth. Okay, and the third point, no species. And the fourth point, the phenotypic. Okay, so this selection allow the phenotypic stability to maintain within a population. Phenotypic stability is maintained within a population. So these are the some of the points about the stabilizing selection. Then second one is directional selection. Second selection is called directional selection. See, this selection operates when some gradual changes takes place in the environment. So the first selection is operate when the environment is in stable condition. That means there is no change. But here second selection, directional selection is operate when yes, gradual or small changes takes place in the environment. Okay, then the second point. See, this selection remove the individuals from one end to another end. From one end to another end of the phenotypic distribution. Based on the distribution of phenotypic character, this selection eliminate the individuals from one end to another end. From one end to another end. Understand of you? And here one examples also there. The size difference between the male and female sperm. The size difference between the male and female sperm. See, normally both male and female sparrows are similar. Okay, look like similar in their external appearance, but the weight of the female sparrow is very high than the male sparrow. Okay, so this selection allow these female sparrows only based on the weight. So once I repeat all the points about this directional selection. This directional selection operates when a gradual changes takes place in the environment. Then second point, and this selection remove or eliminate the individuals from one end to another end of the phenotypic distribution. Understand of you? Then the third selection is called destructive selection. destructive selection. Third selection is called destructive selection. See, this selection operates when a sudden change takes place in the environment. That means the environment is changed from homozygous condition to heterozygous condition. Homo means same, hetero means different. So suddenly the environmental conditions are changed from homozygous condition to heterozygous condition. Understand of you? And this selection allow the organisms which are having extreme phenotypic characters, and this selection eliminate the organisms which are having average phenotype. So the average phenotype organisms are eliminated and the extreme phenotypic organisms are allowed to survive. Understand you? So now we said two important points about this disruptive selection. The first one is when this selection is operate when the environmental condition is suddenly changed from homozygous condition to heterozygous condition. Then the second point, this selection allow to survive the organism with the extreme phenotype, and this selection eliminate the organism with average phenotype. Okay, then this selection splitting the main population into subpopulations or species. Splitting the main population into subpopulation and or species. Okay, so this is the next point about this disruptive selection. Then this is a rare selection. This is a rare selection, and this selection produce different types of species. More different species. This selection produce more different species. More different species. And here examples for this disruptive selection is the big size of Darwin finch bird in relation to seed size. Yesterday in the last class I told you some Darwin finches eating the small sized seeds. Some Darwin finches eating the large sized seeds. Okay. So based on the size of the seeds, the Darwin finches big size also change. Okay, so this is called disruptive selection. So now we have completed the first important force, natural selection, and there are three types of selections are there: stabilizing selection, directional selection, and destructive selection. Okay, then the second force is gene flow. The second one is gene flow. Gene flow meaning movement of genes through gametes, movement of genes through gametes, or movement of individuals in or outside of a population. See, just to imagine it's a population, totally 100 Indian members are there in this, just imagine it's a tiger population, 100 tiger species, tigers are there. Suppose one tiger can enter in this population. Sometimes one tiger can leave from this population. So, movement of genes through gametes or movement of individuals inside a population or outside to the population is called gene flow. Understand you? Then the next point about this gene flow is when one new organism entering inside a population, it can bring new alleles. Sometimes it can bring the alleles already existed or already present in the population. Hope you understood the second point about this gene flow. When one individual is entering inside the population, sometimes it can bring new alleles. Sometimes it can bring the alleles already are present in the same population. Okay, so these are the two important points about this gene flow. Then next force is, so the natural selection is the first force, the second force is gene flow, then the third one is genetic drift. The third force is genetic drift. This genetic drift is also known as Sewall-Wright effect because this genetic drift was explained by two scientists. Okay, Sewall and Wright. So these two people only togetherly explain this genetic drift. So this genetic drift is sometimes called Sewall-Wright effect. Okay, listen very carefully. Say gene frequency. According to this force, The gene frequency in a population is sometimes changed due to some chance. When the gene is getting some chance, the frequency of the gene is what altered or changed. So this is the first point about this genetic drift. And this genetic drift can occur in any types of population. It can occur in small population, medium sized population, or it can occur in large population. But the effect of this genetic drift is very high in small populations. The effect of this genetic drift is very high in small population. Maximum the population size is reduced because of some natural disasters. Example, bottleneck effect, founder effect. So these are the example for the natural disasters. Okay, so because of this reason, the size of the population is reduced. If the size of the population is reduced, genetic drift is very effective in the small population, in the reduced populations. Okay, so I hope you all understood this point. Okay, then the last force is the four force of this evolution is mechanism is mutation. The fourth force is mutation. See, mutation means you all know it's a sudden change. This is the original source of all kinds of genetic variations. Okay, so because of the mutations only, we can see some variations in the genetics. We can see some variations in the genetics. Then, rate of this mutation is very low in maximum individuals or maximum populations. That means mutation is slowly occur. The rate of mutation is slowly occurring in maximum organisms. That's not few. Then the third point about this mutation is new mutation on an allele frequency from one generation to next generation is not large. New mutation on an allele frequency from one generation to the next generation is not large. So these are the three important points about this mutation. So mutation is the original source for all kinds of genetic variations, and the rate of this mutation is very small. Okay, rate of this mutation is very low in most organisms. And the next one is new mutation on an allele from one generation to next generation is not large. So these are the points about this mutation. Okay, my dear students. So now we have completed the second question also, mechanism of evolution. Say sometimes these natural selection, three types of selections may be asked for 5-mark questions. Okay, may be asked for 5-mark question. Okay, so today we have completed two important 5-mark questions. The first question is Hardy-Weinberg principle, and the second one is mechanism of evolution. So now we have completed this chapter. Okay, so today it's a study and write the answer, send to me through my WhatsApp number. I will correct you. Okay, and already in the beginning I told you very soon you are going to write the AFADI examination. So prepare yourself for the AFADI examination. Okay, so study well. We will meet in the next class. Thank you.